the kitty. Well, the ones I'm not allergic to.
You know.
Where's the music?
Oh, that one, Kevin.
Welcome to Sex Positive Me on BFAM 109.6. This is a special episode for all our viewers. So listeners, sorry, you're not going to be able to see. Well, I just said, you don't listen what I say, do you?
Keep talking.
I said this is special for our viewers. Unfortunately, our listeners are not going to be able to see. Do you not listen to the words that come out, Mama? This is not going to be a fun show now.
Of course it is. It's November 15th, and we have a guest.
Yes.
As we discussed her name moments ago, Robin Beach is here with us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. And it feels like it's been a minute since I've seen you.
I know. We just did ties. That's bonding. Like in the kink world, that's totally bonding.
Yeah.
Well, surprisingly, that's the topic of our show, Bondage Part 2, because we did Part 1 on your show.
See, I'm
Sex
surprised
with Robin.
You didn't say Part 2 because you were going.
Est-ce que je parle français?
Yeah, no, I don't do that. So tell us a little bit about you, Robin.
Well, I'm a former stripper, former pro-dom, former nurse with experience in cardiology, psychology, and sexual health. And now I primarily work as a sex and relationship coach, sex and relationship educator. And also I have the show on the same channel, Sex with Robin, BFAM 109.6.
Awesome. And I was actually distracted because I'm going completely off topic. You know how your phone comes up with memories?
Yes.
It actually showed my favorite cock.
Higher.
Yeah, you gotta go higher. Ah! It's a gorgeous cock.
Yes, that's that. When people ask me for a cock pic, that's what I would send.
Yes.
Oh, we're not talking about cocks this show. We're talking about
oh, yay.
Which cocks can be bonded, but we won't go there because we'll get in trouble again.
Well, no, we haven't.
You got in trouble too?
No, we have. God bless us. We haven't. We always just hear it's like, well, you better behave because Robin got sent. I'm like, oh, great. I think we got to come before you, so that way we don't get the "you got to behave" speech.
Yeah, that's what Dave's saying now. He's like, oh, it's always you. Why is it always you? I'm like, I'm not. I know I'm not the only pervert.
You're not, but you're the only one that gets in trouble.
What the hell? Oh well.
No, you're definitely not the only pervert. But before we continue, we'll do a quick little bit about our sponsor, One Condoms.
Yes.
I know we've spoken about them plenty of times before, and we talked about their condoms, their 60 sizes. I love the Vanish brand of them.
Mm-hmm.
However, they now have lube, and we had some time to play with their lube. It was pretty cool.
It was good. It felt really natural, actually. I couldn't tell a difference. It was actually a lube. It just felt very natural.
I'm excited to try it. Tell me what it was like.
Well, it's white, so good color. And it was silky, but it felt good. But what I love about it is we both have sensitive skin, more me than her. And it's paraben-free, glycerin-free, pH balance, all those things that, make sex go yay instead of, God, that's going to hurt.
Awesome. I know some's on the way, and I can't wait to try it.
Well, when you do, let us know. I think it's awesome. Go out and buy it. Go to our website, click on the One Condoms link to go ahead and go over there. And at that moment, we'll be back in just a moment with Sex Positive Me on BFAM 109.6.
Yay, we made it again. We got the sandbox in the chat room.
Yep, Oasis still.
Yeah.
What do you think of it, DC?
The shit. I put this shit on everything.
If I take you to a baseball game, I will pay to film you, put that on a hot dog and eat it.
I mean, I've tasted it. I've used it. There is nothing wrong with this lube. This is an amazing lube.
So maybe you can put it on your hot dog.
I could taste like a hot dog with lube on it.
And welcome back on Sex Positive Me on BFAM 109.6, where we're doing bondage part deux. So John can be happy about that. So we're going to do a partial suspension, and Robin's going to be narrating, critiquing, or saying whatever it is to during the show.
Commentating.
That's the word.
And bringing us new knowledge and information. So, before I even start with touching her or doing any type of bondage, for everyone who's either starting or beginning rope or never even thought of doing rope, but I might change your mind on this. First thing you always start off is with negotiation. We've definitely talked before. We've played many times before. I know stuff like, well, let's see, things not to do, nothing around your neck.
Right, not the neck.
And if someone has perhaps a torn shoulder in college that still bugs them, or maybe their knee's not the best, these are things to discuss so you don't discuss them while they're in suspension saying, fuck, help. So negotiate first. Second, always have some type of implement to cut them out.
Safety shears clear.
Yeah. Rope is cheap. Doctor bills are not. If you need to sacrifice the rope. I know you're like, they pay for healthcare. That's right.
Yeah, I know. I was like, that's right. You have to pay hospital bills and stuff.
Yeah, we have to pay all
That's
that.
hard. Because I usually tell people, you know, it's for us, it's more like they're embarrassed. I'm like, go to the hospital if you're embarrassed. But it's hard to say when I go to the States, like, oh, there's also the money thing. That sucks. So yeah, you might as well play it safe, cut your rope. You don't want to pay that bill.
Yep.
So
Man.
we're going to do, we should start with that one too. Okay. The other one is, of course, we've heard of safe words, a word to say where things are bad. Normally we use green for good, yellow for slow down a bit, red for stop. However, I like things like ball gags. We won't be using them today, but when I do, you obviously can't hear while the industrial music's playing and you're trying to do a scene. So our station manager thought it was genius. I thought I would share with you. This is a ball. It is orange, so I can't miss it. As long as my bottom can hold this, everything's good. The moment they drop it and you hear a bounce, something's wrong, check in with them, stop everything, or whatever needs to get adjusted. It's an alternative way to having a safe word. And I'm actually using a lacrosse ball. They're solid, so when they bounce, they make even a louder bump. Again, I like to know what's going on. So you don't need that because you're not being gagged today.
Nope.
But you are getting tied up.
I'm getting tied up and doing a partial suspension, and my legs are going to be up in the air.
So let's back up. Give me your legs. We'll get it up a little.
Just gonna have to come in nice and close so I can see.
And we're going to start doing an ankle tie. So, and again, don't do suspension is your first thing. I did 8 months of training, weekly classes before I did this. But after that, I got really comfortable, and we do this quite a bit. This is usually our date night.
Oh, I'm so envious. Sorry, I was just saying, just the touching. I miss touching people. I haven't been able to tie anyone since COVID, except for myself.
Well, when the borders finally open up, you're welcome to come on down.
Oh.
And there'll be plenty of tying. That would be interesting because you're primarily a top as well.
Yeah, I definitely switch. I'm definitely not submissive. But I like being tied and I like pain. And I mean, at this point, especially with COVID, I'm like, I'm down for whatever. Like, just let's do something. I'll do anything.
Well,
it's good negotiation, right? It's good negotiation. I'll do anything. Don't say that.
But aren't the borders open already for Canada to the States?
They did just open them up to drive through, but you have to take a mandatory test that you have to pay for. I don't know. It's still kind of weird. But I actually have never been to Florida before. It's been on my list.
Uh-huh.
Never been.
Well, it's funny because we live in this intersection between having a swinger resort nearby, really great dungeon nearby. Tampa's only an hour and a half away, and they have some great stuff over there. And then we split our
Nice.
time between those things and Disney World.
I know, that's cool. I'm way over in Vancouver, Canada, so pretty across the.
You're on the West Coast, and
Yes.
yes, you know, I've
And
always
it's actually, yeah, it's very. Sorry, have you never been?
never to Vancouver. I lived a year in Toronto, and I loved it.
Okay, yeah, that's way on the other side. Yeah, Vancouver is very similar to Seattle. I mean, it's a 2.5 hour drive from here to Seattle, so the weather and everything is very similar. It's like Seattle's kind of our older sister. But you are welcome here anytime. It's a fun scene, and there's a big rope scene here.
It's funny.
Addie and Barkus are here. If you're familiar with Addie and Barkus, George
I am.
Barkus. Yeah, they live here. They're really, really great humans.
Yep. We have a few locals here. Connor is probably one of the ones that's almost a internet sensation.
Right.
Does a lot of ties. But I just want to, can you turn your leg inward slowly and just show, I basically built a weave up on top.
Yeah, I was about to ask what you're doing here. I want to see. That looks really nice.
And again, the reason why the weave is when you weave like this, it's friction rope. It catches on itself. So by weaving instead of just laying it, nothing's going to slide. I'm basically building a little hammock. And back here, there's 6 lengths of rope. So it's going to distribute it when I go ahead and anchor. So that's one. I'm using multicolored ropes here so we can see. And the next one will be
good idea.
blue.
Purple.
Purple.
Colorblind as the brat.
Just because you're a brat doesn't mean you're not helpful.
Yeah. Yes, brats are helpful. I like brats.
Now, my brat.
Brats get a bad name. They get a bad rap.
It depends on the brat. Some brats want to go ahead and establish a certification program so they can say they're a certified brat.
That seems almost like a contradiction in itself.
Why? At least you're certified as a brat.
But I guess, but wouldn't a brat fight the certification process?
I need no justification.
Oh, see, I'm the brat that needs the justification. See?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I just think of Sheldon. It's like, I've been tested. My mother tested me.
Okay, that looks really great.
Thank you.
Lines are super clean. It's very pretty. Which, yeah, we were discussing this in the last block. They don't always have to be different, of course. They can be the same, but there's like kind of practical rope and there's aesthetic kind of rope. And I love and admire aesthetic rope. I love looking at it. I think I'm a little bit too impatient for doing aesthetic rope a lot as a top. I usually just want practical rope. I want to tie someone up and do bad things to them.
Yeah, I like doing that too. It's all, I mean, don't get me wrong. I've recently in the past, well, COVID, gotten into photography because when you have no place to go.
Yeah.
So, or because his wife's Mexican, try to treat her like a piñata.
Oh, you were just happy there'd be evidence.
Well, and just during COVID again, you know, I haven't been able to see my partners, and so I haven't really had anyone to tie. I've been doing a lot more self ties, but if anything, I think, yeah, it's been a time to improve. And actually, I feel like my rope has gotten prettier, just because I might as well. Like, we're all trying to busy ourselves with something, and if I'm going to tie myself over and over again, I might as well, oh hey, make it a little more pretty here or there. So, you know, do what you can.
Well, I mean, normally we all live busy lives. COVID definitely gave us time to step back, sometimes in fear, but after a while, just to do things we normally wouldn't do because we are busy.
Yeah.
And we definitely did tie a whole bunch during COVID just because you can only binge watch Netflix so long and you need something else to do.
Yeah.
All right. So I've done a weave on both her feet here. See if
Nice.
you can see them. I like the duality of the colors.
Yeah, they look great.
We're going to go ahead and do a partial suspension.
Partial suspension.
Which means her legs are going to be up in the air, her butt's going to be off in the air, and she's probably going to have her shoulders on the floor wiggling, which is what she does as a brat. However, before we do that, we're going to take a little quick break here on Sex Positive Me on BFAM 109.6.
I was about to tell you, you got 2 minutes to your break, but let's go ahead and take the break now before you burn her up.
I have the computer too far, and the 4 looked like an 8.
No, I got you, buddy. I got the time for you. You just do what you do.
All right.
And to the girls that are advertising in the chat box, thank you for watching.
Are we sure they're not just spam bots? They're just spam bots.
That's such a good response. Yeah, I get those on my YouTube channel a lot. Scam bots.
Before we get into this, a little note from our sponsor, King Crate. They're right now going through a complete redo, so they should be coming out by the end of the year with a completely new website, even better than before. But basically, it's kink that gets sent to you every month in a little brown box. Doesn't look like anything unsuspecting. For all we know, it's an air filter, because I get those too. And it shows up, and each month's a little different. They actually had a rope box. But if you don't want to subscribe and you just want to shop, you can actually go there and pick a particular box. They're a little more expensive if you don't subscribe as opposed to getting them on an individual, but they're totally worth it. And yes, our station manager is holding up the box going, that looks like nothing. Hide the address. Yes.
I'm trying to.
That's why you flip it on the other side.
Yes.
There you go.
So,
That's
DC,
beautiful.
as a non-kinky person, are you enjoying your kinky monthly presents?
I'll let you know on Sunday. This Sunday is the third edition of Two Girls, One Crate.
Two
Don't
girls,
miss it.
one crate.
Two
I know
girls,
where
one
that
crate.
came from, but that's all I'm touching.
All right, let's
I love it.
Continue with the roping because now you get
Yes.
to go aerial.
I did aerial.
How that
Yay.
looks.
Are you tying both my legs or just
Both are going in the air.
okay?
We're tying like this. Now,
Okay.
I am positioning her butt right below. There you go. I have a hanging point up here. So one at a time. Get them up. Back. It's funny, I bought a swivel point, and there it goes between the toes, as we mentioned.
Yeah.
I had bought a swivel.
You're either a lover or a hater of rope between the toes. I feel like you either love it or hate it.
Oh, yeah.
I hate rope between my toes. I hate it. And of course, tops like to take advantage of that when I bought them.
No, we're innocent.
Every time.
Don't bullshit a bullshitter. I love it. Oh, there she goes. Oh, that looks like my hips and back want that really badly. That looks great.
Yeah. Good, baby.
Oh shit, the roller's out here for my neck.
All right, hold on. I'm going to put it back down.
It's inside the house.
It's always about comfort. So you keep talking, I find a pillow.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
You go inside, like right where the television is. So we
Explain.
usually have like a roller on my neck just for a little bit comfort and support while he puts me up in the air. So usually it's about a couple inches, not too far up while suspended, and then he'll just be like, what do you call it? Tying up my legs at the same time. Found it? Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Be comfortable.
There. Perfect.
All
That's
right, you were nice enough to hold your spot. Again, I was within an ear shout for about 3 seconds. I never leave my bottoms. Ever leave them tied up and like go make a sandwich or something. That will no, things don't work out well. So, you're still good?
I'm so good. See, I got the roller, that's why.
I know you got the roller, and I'm going to tie you right here.
For those that might not have ever done anything like this, I want to ask you, Angelique, how do your feet feel? How does the rope feel on your feet?
They feel tight but comfortable, kind of like a compression sock. That's the best
Oh,
way
yeah.
to explain it. That's
That is
why
a good
I
way of
prefer-
explaining it.
Yeah, I prefer to be tied up than wear those ugly compression socks or leggings. So that's just my preference, honestly.
Love it.
I mean, I'm not a medical doctor. Ah!
Feel a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I felt a little bit. That's why I'm like, ah. Yeah, I'm not a medical doctor or professional, so that's why I don't medically recommend it, but this is what works for me.
Hmm.
And I just finished running the half marathon last week, so yeah, it
Nice.
helps a lot. So I know I haven't been roped up. That's why I was like, hey, let's rope my legs up. It's been a week. It's been a minute, hot minute.
Yeah. So right now, yep, that's nice and tight. Let me actually move the camera
Yeah.
to show you. I got
Yeah, because I can't see the feet.
So
Yeah, I can't see much. So.
you have
But
to
we can
guide me
see
on
you
this one
higher,
because
like-
I'm the guy. But
Okay.
There we go.
That's good.
Oh, that looks nice.
Higher
Yeah,
so you can see the knots.
that's a good angle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, make sure if you are even doing with partials, make sure you have a proper hard point. You don't need anyone getting hurt.
Yeah.
all right.
That's awesome.
I guess
That
I'm
looks
going to come on camera here for the moment here. Just so you know, I had this professionally installed. It's not a screw that can just go in. It goes up, and then it's actually also braced sideways by 2x6s and metal. So it is bolted in there. This is rated for about 700 pounds.
That is solid.
She weighs about $120.
Yep.
I'm
Yeah.
nowhere near that.
All right.
But
Are we taking it off now?
in a
Or?
minute, we'll
I
show
love
you.
the easy release that you put there too. Those are great.
Thank you. But I was just going to go up and show you how it's bolted in the ceiling.
Mhm.
And come back down to see her face of getting into subspace because she just had that a moment ago.
Not there yet. So getting there. So.
All right.
So when you've got Angelique in a partial, I mean, what are the kinds of things that you like to do in that kind of position and play?
I just kind of like sway back and forth.
Mhm.
But one thing I have to mention for anybody who's going to be doing any kind of rope, stretch. You always have to stretch before you start doing any rope play because then that helps you be in the positions for a much longer time and very comfortable. So that's one thing we always recommend is like before you start getting tied up, stretch your legs, stretch your arms, yoga. Are great positions so that way you have the flexibility when you're tied up.
Yeah, and know your body.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, if it hurts too much, it shouldn't hurt. Certain things should hurt or pinch a little bit, but this should not be like feeling pressure on her knees or her hips.
Right. Yeah.
If you are, something's wrong. Now, occasionally, I know you do it sometimes with other bottoms I'll tie up. This is a perfect time for sensation play.
Yeah.
So scratching.
Paddles, floggers.
My Wartenberg wheel, otherwise known as a pinwheel, is great. Now, if I'm really sadistic, this is when I would usually do some type of predicament play with coconut rope to stuff like if they maybe tilt their head too much, their hair might be tied to a crotch rope, which is attached to their nipples. So it starts pulling and kind of makes them keep a certain form with their body, and when they move, well, it kind of punishment a little.
Just a little.
I do love predicament bondage.
Would you like
It's
to?
really entertaining. That's
so
I
you
just
two
like to
talk.
entertain.
Let me adjust this.
Yeah.
That way I can show your face.
My face hurts. I thought you were going to show how I.
It's a beautiful face.
Why don't you show how you're untying it so that way
Yeah.
they can see more of a process. I know for our audience listeners, you can't see what we're doing, but a little bit higher so they can see the top part when you untie that part.
Okay.
So John is now slowly untying me from the top from his knots.
Important thing when you untie, I like untying slowly because again, I love sensation play and stuff like that, and I can get sadistic. So I'm holding the rope as I do this and making sure I'm not pulling between your toes because we discussed that.
but it also could be sensual too. It doesn't have to be sadistic. So all matters the intention of your scene, how you negotiate it. Is it going to be playful? Is it going to be sadistic? Are you looking to be a masochist and really get some pain, or sensual play to really intimately connect with each other?
Again, as I'm doing this, I'm making sure she doesn't drop, because she's going to be coming down nice and slowly like a ballerina.
Hey, do you have any tips for releasing somebody in a way that they're not going to drop?
Pay attention close and keep a firm grip. Don't be afraid to use 2 hands and move slowly. Any tips from you?
Yeah, I mean, and I would, basically what you said, make sure that you have a firm grip. I would say make sure your stance is good, that you're well grounded, and go slowly.
Yeah.
And looks good. It looks great.
Don't be afraid to put your weight on it if you need to. A tiny bottom can suspend a bigger person. It just, again, sometimes it's putting your body weight behind it.
And how you distribute the rope, because that's people don't understand that the distribution of the rope does matter, because then that's how you have the most control on a person's body.
And I mean, that's the great thing about physics and what we've learned with things like pulleys and rope and anchor points and weight distribution is, there's an unfortunate, I want to say, bit of myths out there. There's some myths out there that you can't be a small rope top, or you can't tie someone that's bigger, and that's not true. If you do it properly, you can have a small top tie up a larger bottom, and yes, large people can do suspensions and large people can be tied, and you can do that safely and effectively, just knowing how to use the rope and distribute the weight properly.
Yeah, if they told us back in high school to pay attention to the anatomy of the human body during biology would give you awesome sex, we would be paying better attention than we would. I swear, the last 5 years, that's all we have been studying is the fucking anatomy of the body, like where the bones are, where the nerves are, where, what organ goes where. It's people think it's like, oh, I could just do that. I'm like, no, we actually study this shit. We know what our bodies does. We know what to do. I think one of the biggest ones that we had like mixed information was how to treat a nerve, a pinched nerve. It's like, do you put cold compressions or do you put hot compressions first, So we've heard both sides of it.
Yeah, normally with the census is start with cold, especially for nerve, and then later on you can switch between them. What I wanted to show, if you could tilt your leg, is one, you see me holding her foot. She's been holding it up in the air for a while. So when I drop the rope, the fact that her leg may drop is a possibility. But can you see the markings?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. You can't. You really need to get the camera much closer.
Well, there you go. You're getting your foot closer. You will see.
Oh, there you go. It's left some indentation marks where the rope was. Yeah, it looks great. I love marks.
And these, look, put your foot down. These will go away in an hour or so. Let's do the other one. They're not permanent, although I think sometimes more permanent you'd like.
Yeah. Well, it's just like fire cupping. Fire cupping, it depends on how long you've had the cup on. So.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. That was what I loved about nursing school, just learning about the human body. And once I, found the kink world, I was like, oh, I love this. Oh, and we've got a comment here from DJ Lucky Kitten. Hello. Says that tie looks gorgeous over a high heel shoe. Yes. Awesome. Who doesn't love some shoes? That's hot.
And that's funny because getting into kink and like now getting healthy and exercising, I said I never thought that would inspire a shoe collection because I have way too many shoes and boots now that I've never had before in my life. Feeling good?
Feeling good.
Love it. Yes, exploring your sexuality will bring you to amazing things you never thought you'd dream of. What a concept.
Yeah.
How you feeling? Little spacey?
Little spacey, just a little. Not the usual, but yeah, it is enough. I'm like, woo, lightheadedness.
You
Now,
look nice and spacey.
Yeah.
but the truth is, we've done a scene like that that's lasted over an hour,
Mm-hmm.
where she's been upside down, and again, being upside down for 5 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
a little spacey. When
Yeah.
you've had someone fully suspended upside down for an hour.
But last time you had both my legs tied up, not just by my feet. You had both legs.
I had legs tied up, but all of it was on your feet. Oh no, we
Right.
did do a Futomomo the other time.
Yeah, we did.
Which
You
is basically
kind of
just a
like a
leg
pretzel.
tie.
Yeah, pretzel size.
My point was, if you've suspended someone for an hour,
Mhm.
think about sitting in a chair for an hour. Sometimes you get up and fall down because your legs go numb. Someone hanging upside down, be very careful getting them down. Basically, act as if they were comatose and move every body part to get them going.
Yep. Sup, Spacey? Sorry.
Yeah, I often think of, you're taking care of a drunk friend, because some people can be very similar to that kind of state of mind or the body where it's like maybe a little loose and they might not be as aware. So I just like basically treat them as a drunk friend.
Yeah, and it's like, I know we were at a conference and someone mistaken somebody as being intoxicated. In reality, they were just heavy into subspace after a heavy scene.
Totally.
And we were just like, no, they don't even, and they normally do not drink alcohol anyways. So that's why we're like, no, wrong call. They're not intoxicated. They're really in a happy place.
Yeah.
That's the best way to explain it. It's their happy place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
So, do you have any rope stories for us? Obviously pre-COVID, or
geez.
maybe we'll get more specific. What is your favorite tie to do to someone, or favorite scene?
Okay. I once did a fudo, but on the arms to make them like a T-Rex kind of. So I had, single column on the wrist, and then did a fudo around both arms. And this was a partner who was very much like a little kitty. And so I got some kitty toys and I made her chase them around while she was a little bit T-Rex. So it was a very silly, kind of fun way to explore this kitty side of her that she wasn't, wanted to kind of discover. And it was really fun. It was really fun to watch her like a cat would, forget that she's tied up and still instinctively try to catch the kitty toys. It was really cute and fun.
But that rope can be fun and playful. That it's not, rigid.
Absolutely, yeah. And it doesn't always have to be a crazy intense scene either. My girlfriend, sometimes she'll just want me to tie her up so she's hugging herself and feeling nice and tight. And we'll watch a show and she just wants me to pet her while she's all bundled and hugging herself tight. It can be a nice time. It doesn't have to be, an intense dungeon techno strobe light experience. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I've almost missed strobe lights.
Well, that's true. Obviously the bottom needs to pay attention to their own body and give feedback, but there's plenty of times we've been binging something on Netflix and she's like, my legs hurt, my arms hurt, tie me. Yeah. And I tied her up on the couch and then just sat there and realizing she's into a ball with 4 lengths of rope on her and we're watching Godzilla.
Nice. I've seen, actually, and I would like to know your opinion, if you have any opinions on how rope frames should be, I don't know, watched or monitored, because I know a lot of people that have seen this, and I know I've seen it, where someone is suspended and swinging and a frame tipped over, and it just so happened myself and another person were right next to it, and we grabbed it before it tipped, and the person did a big swing and almost hit the floor, but just barely, after we caught the frame, they missed it. So that was really good, because that could have been bad. And so it just made me wonder how, because I've seen that happen in a couple other events too, where maybe something tips over or is a bit questionable, if certain dungeon monitors should just be keeping an eye on frames, or should we only have certain kinds of frames? Or I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
We haven't played with frames.
No, but we've been at conferences where we've seen frames.
Yeah.
Normally, we definitely like a hard point, something completely immovable. Even when we used to do a conference called FIRE, the Florida Intense Rope Experience, they set up basically the scaffolding you'd find at a concert. Those
Right.
giant light, and had them all over the place. And I think DC is saying we should go to a sponsor.
Yeah, we have to go sponsor.
Well, I'm going to go to a sponsor, and I'm going to answer that question in just a moment. So we'll be right back in just a second. No, but great question, Robin.
I don't know how I feel about it. Seen all kinds, all different communities, and everyone seems to have a different thought. And I'm like,
no, I definitely have an opinion, and I'll share.
Good. I look forward to hearing it.
And we're back.
Welcome back on Sex Positive Me on BFAM 109.6. Angelique's still in subspace here. She's going back and forth after that nice little partial suspension, but we're going to talk about our sponsor now.
We are. We want to talk about SDC.com, Seek, Discover, Create, which is a great online community. If you're a swinger, if you're a kinkster, if you're just looking to be a voyeur or an exhibitionist, because now they have video broadcasting where you can broadcast to everyone, which is what we'll be doing tonight at 7 p.m. And I think we're going to go ahead tonight and start off with going a little more risque, because as long as we're on YouTube and Facebook, we have to be good. But if you watch us starting at 7, at 8 o'clock, we may just shut off Facebook and get a little naughty, because SDC lets us do that. Mm-hmm. So come take a peek and a look. Go to our website, sexpositiveme.com, and click on the link and sign up. It is free. But of course, if you pay the little subscription fee, you get a hell of a lot more. So check them out. So we are here with Robin Beach, and she had asked me a great question on how we felt about A-frames, which is basically, it's usually a 3-prong setup that lifts up, that basically allows you to do a suspension scene. However, we have heard incidents where they get unstable. My personal opinion of it is, if you're going to invest in an A-frame, one, you need a high ceiling, 10-foot absolute minimum. If you have an 8-foot ceiling, you really, it's what would they call that? Low flyby suspension.
Low fly.
You really can't get too high. But I've seen them for sale from like maybe $280 all the way up to $1,500. Mm-hmm. And what I will say is, the ones in the below $600 range, I would not trust my loved one hanging from it. It's not that they're bad. It's just they're not quite as stable, at least the ones I've had experience with.
Yeah.
We've seen a few that were more towards the $800,000 range, and we really felt like it was more of an industrial grade, that the products were, or the beams were heavier, the locks were stiffer, and more importantly, the base was wider. Mm-hmm. I like when they have a huge wide base. Otherwise, I guess there's also alternatives. We've seen people build a T-frame.
Right.
Which is, I actually feel better on a T-frame.
We've honestly, our experiences have been more like with T-frames and the mount points. Like I said, the scaffolding from a concert over at Fire is amazing, because we know how they could just normally hold stuff, you know, in a regular concert, like the lighting equipment, the sound, the cables. So it is stable. But we did once do an A-frame. Is it on in New Orleans? In
New Orleans, we did. In
New Orleans, but we kind of, I was a little hesitant because it was an A-frame and it was at a conference, like a convention, and it was more swinging oriented than BDSM. So sometimes I do get kind of weary at swinger mixing in kink, because sometimes they don't understand safety and consent with it. So it kind of goes like, yeah, this is so fun and playful. I'm like, no. It has to be stable. It has to be secure. You know, there's protocols there, you know, things that we learned in the BDSM community. Sometimes the swinging community thinks that they could take, you know, loopholes and cut corners. And I'm like, you can't do that all the time, especially in a rope scene.
Mm-hmm. When you said swinging for a moment, I thought you meant like actual, like physically swing. Because that's what I always say. I'm like, if you're going to use an A-frame, just don't swing on it. Because that's where I've seen them get knocked over. but you meant
Right.
like lifestyle swinging.
Swinging lifestyle, yes, the swinging lifestyle, because then they think, yeah, oh, cool,
Right.
you know. I'm like, no, you still need a little bit more.
Well, the interesting thing we're seeing now is a lot of the more swinger conferences are hiring people from dungeons
Yep.
to just come in and do it all. So it is getting done right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the swinger community is definitely getting on board with that stuff. I'm seeing a lot more, like in the last 5-10 years, a lot more consent-based education. It's just a matter of educating and, you know, being friendly. And I feel like a lot of times when I've presented for like a swinger conference or event, they kind of just want to see something really interesting and watch something really cool. And if they end up wanting to get into it, then you can be like, here's some resources. Otherwise, sometimes it's just like, wow, look at that cool rope suspension, that kind of thing.
I often get a lot of volunteers of, can you do that to me?
Yes.
Maybe. How's your yoga? Because I know they're in the gym and they can do yoga. They can be stretched out. It's not that it's not that we can't tie someone up who's not, say, flexible. I mean, I've tied up people who have disabilities. I think anyone can get tied. It's
yes,
just
absolutely.
You just need to know what their limitations are.
Right.
And if they say they can't fold their hands behind their back, like, you know, and put it together, well, that's going to adjust how you're going to tie them.
Yeah, it just means you got to do a different tie.
But it also means you have to be honest with your body when you're playing with someone. And you can't just say, oh, well, I'm not going to mention it because then it's going to ruin the scene, or then they don't want to play with me. Of course, we're not going to play with you because you're not being honest and telling us something, you know, like I'm straight up, like I'm a diabetic. So please have some sugars or candies nearby in case my sugar drops. Or, you know, please be careful with my neck because I had neck surgery. These are things I don't feel uncomfortable to tell. But I know a lot of people psychologically will not say these things because then they don't want to be blacklisted, or they don't want to be like, oh, they won't play with me because I'm like, no.
Well, the biggest way not to play with me is to tell me you have no limits. Because I will play with you and be like, no limits. Okay, get the castration kit. And then they go, what?
Yeah, I have back and hip issues, and that doesn't mean I can't do rope. If I'm bottoming, I just tell people, hey, make sure that you have a quick release and maybe tie certain things separately so that I can have the ability to take a break and stretch my hips. Like, it's just communication. It's all about good communication, right?
Yep. But since you brought up that you're from broadcasting from Vancouver, and of course I'm asking pre-COVID because everything's gone out of it. We do a lot of traveling, and we've noticed, again, between South America, Latin America, obviously South Florida is where we're home, but we've also gone out west and gone up north, and every little community, it's a little bit different.
Yes, I love that.
It is, but it's also, it's almost, I'm going to say, and because I am one, it's like being a Mason. You like walk into a community and you know how to talk and say the words. You're like, oh my God, he's in. And it feels like you all of a sudden have friends in places you've never thought of before.
Totally.
How's the scene and everything up in Vancouver?
Again, pre-COVID, because I haven't been around. It's been good. It's been really good. Vancouver is has a pretty big community. Again, in terms of kink, I feel like there's a lot of rope people in Vancouver. Rope is really popular. In Victoria, which is Vancouver Island, it's one of our nearest kind of communities. They're really big on needle play. So that's really popular in that community. And yeah, it's good. It's queer. It's really, I feel very fortunate and privileged to live in a very socially progressive area. So there's a lot of different types of people, lots of different community styles. Like, you know, you've got the gay male scene and the queer and trans scene, and then there's like the straight and the swingers, and there's a lot of overlapping with a lot of those communities. So you get to know a lot of people. It's a friendly community. We're always wanting to see, and I'm sure other communities are similar with our conferences. We're like, we need to see someone from somewhere else. Like, we always want out of towners, you know, because as much as, and I get this because I live here, and so I know that people that are here that love and appreciate me and will come to my classes to support me, but we all know that they want to see out of towners. They've seen my classes, you know, they see me play. It's like, no, we want to meet more people and just keep extending our experiences and knowledge. Because like what I find really interesting about different communities is I feel like there's certain types of play that might be really popular in one city, or even just little tips and tricks that tend to get really popular. And you're like, oh, like I've been places where, you know, we did the bottle cap thing and they were like, I've never heard of this. And I'm like, oh, it's catching on. It's definitely a thing. So that was a long answer, but I just, it's a good scene here. And I just like seeing and connecting with people in different cities because there's always just little mannerisms or techniques that we can all share. And like, how is that not amazing?
No, actually, that's community, not just like the community of where you live, but community is why we're in this, the social aspect of it. And of course, we spend a lot of time tying and doing stuff, but we spend more time talking. And friends across the world. We went to a conference, and of course, you're like, where are you from? Oh, like 10 miles down the road. Where are you from? Russia. I'm like, there's Moscow. There's a rope scene in Moscow. Are you kidding me? And it's not KGB. We're good. Let's talk more.
Actually, that is something that I have I don't want to say enjoyed about COVID. I don't want to make it seem like COVID's been a good thing or a positive thing, but I do appreciate how more international our you know, workshops and the show and everything is, because I feel like since COVID, I've had people come to virtual workshops, from like Australia or somewhere that's just and I'm like, wow. So it's kind of nice to see people connecting on different levels and allowing people to have access from home is really cool. So, you know, there is that. Oh, and Vancouver I'm going to argue this. Fight me if you don't, whatever. Vancouver has the best sushi in the world. You're going to want sushi. So,
we love sushi.
If you ever visit,
we
have the best sushi in the world.
We're like by the water area, by the Pacific Ocean. So I would assume it would be good stuff. And you're closer to like the homeland of Asia. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, it's really fresh fish. So it's just you'll never be able to go back.
Well, we had a comment.
When you come here, I'll show you the best sushi.
Someone said community with a heart.
Yeah, so it is community with a heart.
Oh, Mandy.
You know? It's Mandy.
It is.
Yeah.
Some of my best friends I've met in the lifestyle, regardless of which of the lifestyles, because we bounce between poly, swinger, and kink and BDSM, but we've made the strongest bonds. I'd say except for like high school and college bonds, which those are the people you work with. For, you know, if you're still in touch 30 years later, it's a bond.
Bond. Yeah.
Yes. The bonds by bondage.
Bondage.
The bonds of bondage.
It's a love story.
Yeah. Community is so essential, and that is what I've been missing with COVID, if anything, is just being in that space. Also, I have my co-parent and I have my 2 kids. They're all assigned male, and they're boys. So I'm missing some feminine energy really bad. I'm starting to miss it. I need feminine energy. I need perverted adult energy. I need it. Can't wait. I will, but I can't.
I know we already explored a little bit this year with Exotica, with Naughty in New Orleans. It was just nice being around, you know. Exotica, I think, was our favorite because a lot of our friends that we've seen like in other conferences, they were there. So it was like one big family reunion. We were just like hugging each other. We're like, we miss you. We miss talking, you know.
But it was a new level of complexity.
Yes.
Because as you know, people in the lifestyle have multiple names.
Right.
And you get close, you know their real name, but you never want to call them out on something. But then you may have not seen them in a year, and then they're wearing a mask like this. So you're like, I think I know those eyes. Is that?
That could be fun. I might see what I can get away with, because I, for years, had short hair, and then I just decided to let it see how long it would get throughout COVID. And people are like, how is your hair? I haven't had long hair in I don't know how many years. Nice. So This is my COVID length hair. We'll see how long it gets. Maybe with the mask, people might not be able to recognize me. Who knows?
That's the same thing. It's just like, wait, I think that's so and so, but it's like it's rare and few that I actually did recognize somebody partially with the mask on and just like height, weight. I'm like, oh, I know. It's like that, you know.
Well, even height and weight. You know, for COVID, you dropped like 35 pounds. So people like talk to me and they'll be like, "Holy shit, I didn't see you there."
Which actually, I was about to say, please, nobody comment on somebody's body changes throughout COVID, because there have been changes. I know I've actually lost a bunch of weight throughout COVID. I know people that have gained weight, and it's like, either way, just don't
mention the weight.
It's nice to see you. It does. You don't have to comment on their bodies.
I actually termed it to someone as it's our version of the blip from the Marvel universe. It's 2 years. People, we all just disappeared. You can only talk online, and now we're all back.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Hopefully just the 2. Things are getting better a little bit here, but just waiting for my kids to be able to get vaccinated. Has that started in the States? Do you mind me asking?
They have. They just started for the kids.
I know that our Canadian government has ordered the tests or the vaccines for kids. They've ordered them, but they haven't started yet here, to my knowledge.
Yeah, we're just waiting for our booster shots. So that's
right
where we're at. So, I mean, we're both vaccinated. We made sure of that because we do travel. Thank God our passports are up to date. So in case we have to jump the country for whatever political reason, we're good.
And I tell this to all my American loved ones, you're welcome here. You need a Canadian wife or something like that, or you're Canadian whatever. Like, I got you.
It's just too cold for me. That's it. I just
Vancouver does not get that cold. It's like Seattle.
Doesn't. You're like tucked in the mountains in this really weird area thing where you can like ski. It's like Los Angeles. You can ski and then go to the beach almost, right?
Yes. That's what people say. That's an argument to go to Vancouver. They're like, you can go skiing and swimming in the ocean in the same day. And I'm like, why would you? But sure. Nobody's actually going to do that.
I mean, I'm not going to ski naked, but I would go to the beach naked. So, well.
Yeah.
So Mandy mentioned eye contact has been one of the best things about COVID. I love eye contact. That's very true. I mean, you can still do that via Zoom is the eye contact, but other than that, yeah. But I'm Mexican. I'm like a physical, like I need to hug and touch.
Ooh, keep that up. Don't stop.
There you go. You're seducing John very well.
Okay, I'm the optimist. So there were good things that came out of COVID. Obviously, now I can say Zoom and people don't go, where are we Zooming to? So a lot of stuff that is online has definitely expanded.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were forced into technology that they honestly use now, but, wouldn't have before. But I think we have one quick commercial break here. So we'll be right back with Robin and we're on BFAM 109.6. I left them on this one, so we'll do a little quick one.
All right, let's all give Mandy eye contact. I guarantee she's eating that up.
Online medical access. Yes, I haven't seen my doctor in forever.
And welcome back on Sex Positive Me on BFAM 109.6.
So it's funny because our sponsor for this little segment is Wow Tech Group, and they produce or bring in a bunch of products in the United States, from WeVibe all the way to Womanizer to the Romp. But I'm actually this week doing a review on the new WeVibe Tango X. It should be out in about 2 weeks. I'm going to do vibrator races. So if you're interested in seeing exactly how powerful some of these vibrators are, and I get to do the
lube race.
The lube race is coming up. No, I was going to do the T-Rex thing where I'm going to put the different vibrators in water and see exactly how much of a thump we can get. So no, Spielberg, you don't own that. I'm going to do it anyway.
Without Jeff Goldblum?
I know. Come on. Yeah, we actually heard like one of our friends want to do like a whole burlesque show dedicated to Jeff Goldblum. I'm like,
he'd be into that. I feel like he'd appreciate that.
Oh yeah, I think we all need it, after all this stuff, man. But I just saw a recent post of Jeff Goldblum with the other 2 original cast members from Jurassic Park, and I can't wait
Yes.
to the next one, but it's not until next year. I'm dying because I would love to see that reunion, to see how all of them like get involved. So
That's a whole kind of tease and denial scene
Yes.
happening.
yes.
We actually have an interesting comment. Someone said they've officially become sex negative. I don't know people who are. Well, I know people who are anti-sex, and those are usually the ones that have been pushing Visa to ban all types of porn sites. But sex is a part of being human. It's fun.
It is literally our most primary instinct.
And it's sexual wellness. I mean, there's been scientific studies that having orgasms and ejaculations does help the mind, body, and spirit. I mean, except
I know.
I'm just going to go ahead and say that a comment like that reads super trolly to me, but
yeah, I like to mention it because other people will read it. But yeah, it's one of those. If you want to do that, that's fine. No judgment, but we're not going to shame anyone whether they like sex or not. So if you don't like sex, okay, be asexual or be negative, whatever you want to be.
Yeah.
If you want to enjoy it any way you want to express it, as long as no one's getting hurt and it's consensual and of course above age, enjoy life.
Absolutely.
So
we want to thank our sponsors of the show: One Condom, King Crate, STC.com, and Wow Tech Group. So, and
Yeah, I love that.
BFAN 109.6.
I've given out a bunch of them.
I have so many.
Oh, actually, someone said they don't have it anymore. So, hey, glad.
Oh, I think,
Was.
yeah, the phrasing may be different. Instead of sex negative, maybe asexual?
Maybe.
Maybe?
I don't know. There's,
Yeah,
maybe.
there's nothing wrong with being asexual. I think,
Oh,
yeah,
there's nothing wrong
when
with
I
being
saw
asexual.
sex negative, I thought that was a little bit more like
Anti-sex. Yeah.
sex.
Yeah, when I say sex negative, I think what's the next is it Hulu or Netflix show
Which one?
with the women in the hoods and there's like
Oh, Handmaid's
Handmaiden. That's pretty.
Handmaid's Tale.
That's sex negative.
Yeah,
That's
that's
good.
very sex negative there. So,
But no.
give it plug your show, plug your way. I know now you got to pimp yourself out. We're doing the same thing.
I know. I do not enjoy self-promo. This is where I miss my partners, not just for that, obviously. But yeah, if anyone is interested in learning a little bit more about me or what I do, there's my website, sexwithrobin.com, or my social medias at sexwithrobin. And yeah, I basically work as a private coach, or I can give you any kind of lessons or emotional support when it comes to sex, kink, non-monogamy, that kind of thing. I have my shop, my web shop, so I've got my soap dicks. So if you want to get a bar of soap that is shaped like a dildo, and I'm not going to get you guys kicked off. I got kicked off my show for showing how to use it. You know how to use it. Get to have fun, keep your practice up and your hands clean. Yeah, all that you can find at my website, sexwithrobin.com. And yeah, my show that I do, Sex with Robin, BFAM 109.6, is every Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific time and 1 p.m. Eastern. And next Monday, I'm talking about flagging, like the hanky code. You'll learn more about that.
And actually, that is an awesome topic.
Mandy's comment.
Mandy's Sex with Robin is amazing. The show, I've never actually had sex with her, ... yet.
Yes, but no, we did get a comment that got married, have a kid, went back to school. Going back about 8 years, I went back to school to get my master's degree. And yeah, that kind of takes up a shitload of time. So I know exactly where you are. That's just being busy. That's not being sex negative. That means being occupied.
Yeah. Honestly, didn't think they'll even read any of these comments. LOL. Oh, yes, we'll read it. That is why we're here. We're here to help and support and educate. So if you put the comments in, chances are we're going to read them and we're going to talk about them, because we want to make sure everyone is having great sex out there.
But we're down to the last 30 seconds. I was going to say I will tune in for flagging, because in the last few years I got into puppy play, and all those are flagging. So I will show up, and I want to support you on that one.
Right. You also got the card of all the different flagging colors. There's actually a shop here in Florida that actually created a card that says all the different colors and the flagging and what it means.
But for a colorblind guy, when they start saying light blue, dark blue, this blue, navy
Oh,
blue, like fucking blue, I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, how close do I have to get to see what color it is, at least for me? Anyways, thank you so much for having me.
Great having you. We got to say goodbye because we're out of time.
Yeah.
But thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's so much fun.
Yeah, buddy.
It is funny getting the people online. We love hearing from our listeners and viewers.